I, 34 male, found out about my wife's, 32 female, affair in Christmas Eve. I didn't ask for this knowledge. It was dropped in my lap out of nowhere. The AP's wife messaged me. Her message was detailed, and there was an Excel sheet full of dates, places, and even things wife and AP did together. At first, I didn't even recognize what it was, but curiosity, or maybe denial, got the better of me. I wish to God I hadn't opened that message, because now I can't unsee or unlearn what I read. The thing that's been eating me alive, more than anything else, is learning what my wife was willing to do with him. Some of the things they did together were things I had brought up over the years. I'd asked if we could try them, and she'd either flat out say no, laugh it off, or tell me she wasn't into it. I always respected her boundaries and let it go. But to find out she not only did those things with him, but initiated them, it feels like a knife twisting in my chest. She gave a part of herself to him that she never gave to me. I confronted her when I first found out, and it was messy. But last night, for the first time since all of this came to light, we had a long, honest conversation that felt different. It wasn't like the earlier talks, where I felt like she was defensive, dismissive, or hiding behind walls. She told me she had convinced herself that our relationship was on the brink. She admitted that she wasn't getting the attention and affection she needed, and instead of talking to me about it, she internalized it and began nitpicking minor issues in our marriage. She made those minor things into huge deals to justify what she was doing. Then after the first time she cheated, she didn't look back, because in her mind, our relationship was already over. She told me she now sees how deeply wrong she was and how much pain she'd caused me. One thing that stood out to me during our conversation was when she told me she liked the feeling of being pursued. She said she hadn't felt that kind of thrill or attention since we got together, and that she missed that feeling dearly. That hit me hard because it made me realize how differently we were experiencing our marriage. For me, it was about commitment and building a life together. For her, it seems like she was craving butterflies like a high schooler. She said it was exciting and thrilling to meet in secret. She admitted it wasn't about him, but about the taboo nature of it, the secrecy and the adrenaline. She assured me that it wasn't a reflection of what she felt for me or our relationship. She told me she's open to trying anything with me now. That caught me off guard. For years, she would flat out say no to things I asked for, but now she's saying she wants to explore everything together. She promised me she'd do whatever it takes to rebuild trust and make me feel like she's a worthy partner to continue to share life with. I can't stop wondering why. Was I not enough? Did she not trust me? Was there something about him that made her feel more willing to explore? The questions are endless, and the answers feel impossible to get. This has shattered everything I thought I knew about my marriage. I keep replaying moments in my head, wondering how long she lied to my face, how long she pretended everything was okay while sneaking around with him. I don't even know who she is anymore. The pain and resentment linger, knowing she could justify these actions in her head, knowing she could do things with him that she wouldn't with me. Those wounds run deep. Unfortunately, with the holidays, most of the lawyers I've reached out to are closed. I'll be calling first thing when they reopen to schedule consultations and figure out my next steps. I don't want to delay the inevitable. Update. Well, I handed her the divorce papers, and she's acting like it's some huge surprise. She says, "We can fix this." Right, after everything I found out. It's like she thinks one conversation where she finally admitted the truth was enough to undo all the damage. To make things worse, or clearer, depending on how you look at it, the AP's wife sent me photos of them entering hotels together. Dates, times, and locations. Either she's a good sleuth or she hired a private investigator. She does seem to have been on her husband's tail for a while, it appears. She seems such a pro, and my admiration for the woman's intelligence and courage is growing by the day. Seeing those pics was a whole new level of gut punch, though. The AP's wife also filled in more details, like how they had a weekend getaway while I was at home. That was the same weekend she told me she was visiting a friend. Honestly, it's disgusting to think about how she looked me in the eye and lied, all while planning this secret life. Thankfully, I live in an at-fault state, so all of this works in my favor. My lawyer says the evidence from the AP's wife Shout out to her for being so thorough. Gives me a strong case to avoid alimony and protect my house. At least there's that. As for my wife, she's still in complete denial. She keeps saying, I didn't think it would get to this point, and I never meant to hurt you. Like, what did she think would happen? That I'd just forget about it? She even tried to justify it again, saying she felt neglected and didn't know how to communicate her feelings. Sorry, but there's no excuse for lying and sneaking around like that. At this point, I'm over the tears and apologies. They don't mean much when they're coming after the fact. She's had plenty of time to come clean, but she chose to keep it hidden until she had no choice. Now it's all about protecting myself and moving forward. I got a solid plan with my lawyer, and I'm doing everything I can to make this process as smooth as possible. For me, at least. I'm focusing on my mental health and making sure my assets are okay through all this. They're my priority now. Story 2. Lost for words. So yesterday, I found out my lovely wife of 11 months, soon to be 1 year on November 4th, has been cheating on me. She's been sexting other men. Not 1, but 3, sending photos and videos as well. What drew me suspicious was that she became extremely guarded of her cell phone. I'd look over to see who she was messaging, and she'd hide the phone from me, saying, "It's nothing." Times in the middle of the night, I'd wake up and she's not in bed and she'd thrown her phone down to hide the phone away. After confronting her about the one guy who I found out about, I asked to see her messages. She refused. She deleted them and blocked him. Asked her if there was anyone else. She told me no. She said just the one guy. Later, I took the phone and locked myself in the bathroom with it in order to be able to restore the backup and recover the deleted messages from KIK. At that point, she told me there were 2 others. I'm fucking lost for words. I just don't know what to do. She keeps saying she did it for the attention, that I wasn't paying her any mind or giving her the attention she craves and desires, that she needed validation. I went for a walk this afternoon to try to clear my mind, and just fucking broke down. She keeps telling me that if I read these messages that I'll probably not want to save our marriage. I can't not want to see these messages. I feel like I can't move forward if I wanted to reconcile the marriage without seeing what was said. Edit. It's been 2 weeks. We recently moved out of state. Been down here a month. She doesn't work. She's been looking and we have savings. Transferred with my job and I've been working longer hours because we need the extra money because I'm the only one working. I was there for her if she asked. Like, I can't read minds. I come home, cook, do the grocery shopping, hang out, and just chill. But like, what the fuck else could I be doing? Man, I'm so sorry you're going through this. First off, you're not alone, even though it might feel that way right now. This is a gut-wrenching situation, and it's completely okay to feel lost, angry, or just totally broken. Her actions, sexting not 1 but 3 guys, hiding her phone, lying, and then trying to minimize it are massive breaches of trust. That's a lot to process, especially in such a short time. The fact that she's saying things like, if you see the messages, you won't want to save the marriage, is a big red flag. She's essentially admitting there's more to the story that could hurt you even deeper. You have every right to see those messages. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about understanding the full scope of what's happened so you can make an informed decision about whether or not to move forward. You can't rebuild trust on half-truths, and she needs to understand that. Transparency is the absolute bare minimum if there's even a chance of reconciliation. That said, you don't have to decide anything right now. Take your time. Let yourself feel the emotions. Talk to someone, a trusted friend, family member, or even a therapist, because keeping this bottled up will only make it harder to process. And remember, her excuse about craving attention, that's on her. There are so many healthy ways to communicate feelings of neglect, but she chose betrayal instead. That's not your fault, no matter what she says. Whether you decide to stay and work on this or move on, know that you're worthy of respect, honesty, and loyalty. Take care of yourself first. You're stronger than you think, even if it doesn't feel like that right now. Now some comments. If she's doing this at 11 months married, during what should be a honeymoon period, can you imagine what the years ahead might yield? No truth, no trust, no respect, and no kid. At this point, I would cut losses and start with someone who deserves your love. And whatever you do, don't make her pregnant. Sorry, I think her assertions that you wouldn't want to save the marriage is correct. It's the one honest thing she said. At 11 months into the marriage, you should still be in your honeymoon phase, not her sexting with 3 strangers. God knows what she's done in person with other men. File for divorce on Monday. Ask your lawyer about annulment as an option. Since the marriage is so short, you might not even have to provide spousal support. Maybe if she changes her ways, you can date her again, but make the annulment happen anyway. She doesn't deserve a husband at this point, and she needs to know that. I think it's important to know whether or not she personally knows these men, or if they were only strangers on the internet. The most important thing you can find in the message is if she was planning to meet with any of them. She probably said some very disturbing things to him, but the worst would be a plot to meet them. If she does know him, then that's a lot worse. I don't know you should ever trust her at that point. It's not just a good sign either way. You need to take her to therapy and work on spousal communication and possibly sex addiction on her part if you're, in fact, giving her plenty of attention already. It's a risk that might not pan out, but the alternatives is just to give up now.